Let me be straight with you. Most men walk around thinking they've cracked the code once they start getting attention from women. They think the quantity of women in their life somehow defines their worth, their masculinity, their success. But here's the raw truth. Women are not the reward. The real reward is the understanding of women, how they think, how they feel, how they choose. That's the shift that separates a man who gets women from a man who understands them. And once you make that shift, you don't just date better, you move differently. In life, in relationships, power. I was like most men in the beginning, focused on the outer game, trying to say the right things, look a certain way, play into her preferences. But the deeper I got into it, the more I started to notice patterns, subtle. Things I saw, what actually created pull and what didn't. And it hit me. Attraction is not some random spark of chemistry. It's not about your bank account or jawline or the smoothness of your game. It's about energy. Your energy. The way you enter a room. The way you sit across from her in silence. The way your nervous system speaks to hers without saying a word. That energy either calms her, draws her in, grounds her, or it confuses. Her repels her, or leaves her numb. This realization flipped everything. I stopped trying to perform. I stopped trying to be the guy I thought she wanted. I started tuning into how I was showing up energetically. Was I anchored? Or was I seeking? Was I grounded in who I was? Or was I looking to her for validation? Because here's something most men never grasp. A woman feels you before she hears you. Your posture, your presence, your intention, that's what speaks first. That's what pulls her in or pushes her away. Most women don't even know why. They're drawn to one man and uninterested in another. I'll say it's looks or status, but the truth is, it's something deeper, something primal. It's how you make her feel in your presence. And she feels it instantly before logic has a chance to catch up. That's why you can't logic your way into her heart. You can't talk her into wanting you. You have to be the man that evokes something real in her body. So here's the shift. Stop trying to convince her. Start showing up in a way that makes her feel something she can't explain. Stop chasing reactions and start mastering your energy. Because when your presence speaks louder than your words, she listens with her body, not her mind. And that kind of pull, that's not game. That's gravity. One of the biggest red flags that men ignore is uncertainty. When you're constantly guessing how she feels, constantly overthinking her texts, analyzing her responses, wondering if she's into your wasting time. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. If a woman really wants you, it's obvious. You'll feel it in the way she talks to you, in the way she shows up, in the way she makes it easy. You won't have to decode anything. You won't be stuck in your head wondering where you stand. Her energy will tell you before her words do. High interest is effortless. Always. I had to learn this through pain, through investing time, energy, attention into women who were lukewarm, who responded but never initiated, who flirted but never followed through, who always seemed just out of reach, keeping the door half open. I used to think maybe if I try harder, if I say the right thing, if I stay patient, she'll come around, but that mindset is how men waste years chasing women who never truly wanted them in the first place. It's not that they weren't good enough. It's that they ignored the signs. Interest that's real doesn't make you anxious. It gives you peace. Once you feel that peace, you'll never tolerate confusion again. The women who truly liked me never made me question it. They texted first, asked questions, made plans. They flirted openly, touched my arm, looked into my eyes longer than necessary. They didn't play the slow game, they leaned in. That's what real interest looks like. It doesn't require you to chase, to prove, to explain. It flows. And the moment it stops flowing, the moment it starts feeling like work, like strategy. Like mind games, that's your cue to step back. Because chasing uncertainty is just self-betrayal, disguised as persistence. And here's the deeper truth. When you settle for mixed signals, you're telling yourself that your time and energy aren't worth clarity, that you'll tolerate being an option, not a priority. But a man who respects himself doesn't stay in limbo. He doesn't wait for validation. He moves where he's wanted, not where he has to prove his worth. That's what changes everything. That's when you stop being the man who wonders and start being the man who walks away from confusion without flinching. Women test, delay, and play the slow game with men they feel lukewarm about. But with the right energy, the right man there, instinct is to close the distance, to move closer. That's not manipulation, that's biology. It's nature doing its thing. So stop overthinking. If it's unclear, it's a no. If it's inconsistent, it's not high interest. And the moment you stop chasing answers and start watching her actions, the game becomes crystal clear. Real desire doesn't whisper, it shouts. Listen to the volume. This is one of the toughest lessons I ever had to learn. Women are not loyal to logic. They're loyal to how you make them feel. That truth hit me like a punch to the chest. Because like most men, I believed that if I was solid, if I showed up consistently, protected her, provided for her, stayed loyal, and treated her right, that it meant something permanent, that she'd always choose me, that she'd stay no matter what? But I was wrong. Female loyalty isn't rooted in the checklist of things you do for her. It's rooted in how deeply and consistently you stir her emotions. The connection has to be alive. If she stops feeling you, she starts drifting even if you never did anything wrong. I've seen it happen to good men. Men who gave their all, who were present, patient, and dependable. But they confused consistency with emotional connection. They thought being there was enough, that doing the right things would guarantee her loyalty. But women don't stay because of what you've done. They stay because of how they feel when they're around you. That means you can do everything right and still lose her if she's emotionally disconnected. And when that happens, most men are blindsided. They think it came out of nowhere. It never comes out of nowhere. The signs were there. She stopped lighting up. She stopped laughing the same. She stopped leaning in. Her eyes stopped softening when she looked at you. Her spirit slowly started pulling away. You can't buy your way into emotional loyalty. Can't logic your way into it either. You have to lead with presence, with depth, with groundedness. That's what she connects to. It's what makes her feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. You could be the strongest, most capable man in the world, but if she doesn't feel seen, felt, and moved by you, her feminine instinct starts to shut down. And it's not because she's cold or cruel, it's because she's wired for emotion. Her nervous system is tracking how deeply she can trust you, not just with her body, but with her heart. And if that trust slips, if your presence becomes mechanical instead of magnetic, she starts to detach. The harsh truth is this: she doesn't owe you her loyalty just because you did your part. That's a tough one to swallow, especially if you're the kind of man who believes in showing up strong. But what I've learned is that being strong isn't enough. You'll have to be emotionally tuned in. You'll have to stay connected, not just committed. You have to understand that loyalty in women is fluid. It moves with how they feel, not with what they remember. So if the emotional connection dies, so does the loyalty. That's why you must always protect the bond. Keep it alive. Keep it fresh. Or let her go before the silence between you becomes permanent. In every interaction, someone leads the energy. That's a fact. When it comes to women, if you're not leading, you're following, and that shift in dynamic happens faster than you think. I learned early that when I surrendered the frame, even in subtle ways, I lost her interest. Not because I wasn't good enough, but because I let the emotional tone of the interaction be shaped by her instead of me. A woman doesn't want to guide the dynamic. She wants to be guided by a man who is centered, steady, and unshaken. The strongest frame isn't about being dominant or loud. It's about being grounded. It's when your emotions aren't tied to her reactions. It's when she tests you, pulls away, or acts unpredictably, and you don't flinch. You stay calm, stay rooted. That energy is rare. Most men get reactive. They chase, explain, argue, or beg. But the man who holds his frame, he doesn't need to convince. He lets his silence speak. And that silence creates gravity. When she senses that your validation doesn't come from her approval, something shifts. She leans in. She respects it, even if she doesn't fully understand why. Because it's not arrogance, it's control. Quiet control. A kind of strength that doesn't need to prove itself. The moment you get pulled into her emotional roller coaster, you lose that edge. You become reactive, not grounded. But when you hold your frame calmly and confidently, you lead the space and she'll follow that energy every time. Growth is the ultimate test. As a man, when you begin to level up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you start to notice something powerful. The women around you respond differently. Some lean in deeper, drawn to your evolution. Others start to pull away, disconnected. From the new version of you, it's not always because they're bad women. Sometimes it's just because your growth shines a light on their stagnation.